So let's talk about power in the 2024 Toyota RAV4, because I've been getting some comments on the channel recently about how the RAV4 is underpowered. First of all, let me tell you, I disagree, but let's get into it. The numbers. This is a 2024 Toyota RAV4 XLE, and it is the front-wheel drive version, so it's the non-hybrid gas-powered. Now, as far as the numbers go, it is a 2.5 liter. It is the 4-cylinder. It has 203 horses, or 203 horsepower, and 184 pound-feet of torque at 5,000 RPM. Now, is it the quickest thing out there? Well, of course not. It's not a race car. I mean, it is a RAV4, a mid-sized SUV, right? But it's definitely not the slowest thing out there either. And I'm sure the hybrid version is even quicker than this is. Now, is there some throttle lag? You know, the time between when you stomp on the pedal and it wants to take off and go? Yeah, there is a little bit. Again, it is a RAV4, not a drag car. Now, there are 3 different settings you can choose from as far as the type of performance that you're looking to get, I suppose. It has an eco mode, which is the default. It's always in eco mode unless you change it. Now, that, of course, is designed for better fuel economy. Makes perfect sense. You're going to have less power, and it's going to be a bit more sluggish in eco mode. But the trade-off is you don't have to go to the gas station quite as often as you would if you were in the other modes. Now, I'm running in eco mode, and honestly, I usually forget to push the button, or I would be running in sport mode all the time. From a fuel economy standpoint, I'm getting 24.6 miles per gallon. And a lot of that is city-type driving, mostly under 55 or even 45, 35 miles an hour. So, of course, it's not going to be quite as good as it would be if we were, say, driving on the freeway all the time. And honestly, the reason it's probably over 24 right now for me is because I did just take a trip on the freeway about 2 hours or so the other day, and that kind of pumped up my numbers a little bit. Now, the next option that you have is normal mode. I can't really tell a big difference between eco and normal mode, but you do have that option. Finally, we've got sport mode, my favorite mode, but again, the mode that I typically forget to go ahead and put the RAV4 in, right? It tightens up the steering a little bit and gives you a little bit more responsiveness out of the throttle. Now, I'm not going to do a whole video on those different settings because I already did. A few days ago, maybe a week ago or so, I put out a video running through those to test them and see how they are. However, I am going to slow down just a little bit here, and I'm going to stomp the gas. We're over the break-in period, I think. So let's do it. I'm going to do it right now. That was to the floor. And there was almost a dual hesitation there. Now I'm going to go ahead and switch to sport mode. Let's do that. I'm going to hit sport mode, and I'm going to try that again. So going at about the same speed, 48 miles an hour, let's hit it now. It's not hugely different, but I will say it did seem to reduce the first of the 2 lags that you get when you stop on the pedal. And it's funny because you can go, and it's noticeable, you can go all the way to the floor, and then there's the hesitation where it kind of says, oh, you want to do something, and then it goes, okay, we're gonna do something. So it's almost like a dual hesitation mode, if you will. Not a big deal, but still the vehicle is fast enough or quick enough that it's still fun to zip around and drive in. And if I'm being honest, I have 2 other vehicles right now, the brand new Toyota Tacoma, the 2024, and a 2024 Jeep Wrangler, the 2-door. This is the vehicle that I choose when I'm going to do daily trips or errands or trips on the freeway. Now, you might be wondering why. Does that mean it's the funnest vehicle of what you have to drive? And the answer is, quite honestly, no. I probably would be taking the Tacoma because frankly, it's brand new to me right now. I love driving it. It's comfortable, it's quick. The reason that I take the RAV4, there's a couple of reasons. One, I don't mind parking at places. You know, it doesn't draw a lot of attention. It blends right in, both because of its color. It is the magnetic gray metallic, so it doesn't stand out. People don't see it right off. I like that. Secondly, because if anybody were to park next to it and touch the side of it, which would really piss me off, to be honest, but if it's going to happen, I would rather it happen to this vehicle than my other two. I guess I value their appearance a little bit more than I do the RAV4. And lastly, driving on the freeway. Here, we have a lot of loose stones and stuff, right? I bought my new Tacoma a little while back, and of course, on the way home from the dealership, a stone flew up and chipped my windshield. I mean, I hadn't been the owner of that vehicle for even an hour yet, and I already had a stone chip in the windshield. So out of the three that I have, I guess if anything's going to happen, I would prefer that it happen to the RAV4. That's primarily why it's my daily driver. It's the one that I worry about the least. Now, power-wise, there is one caveat to it being good enough or a little better than just adequate, and that is when you load it down. I have noticed that when I have 4 adults, normal-sized adults, inside this vehicle, I can feel it. I can feel it working a little bit harder. I can feel the acceleration diminish just a little bit from takeoff because of the added weight as opposed to when I'm just driving it around alone. And you may wonder, well, how do you even notice that? Well, primarily, I am driving it by myself. It's usually only me in this vehicle. So when I have 4 or 3 other adults, I really can tell the difference inside. Quite noticeable, I think. So could it have a little bit more power? Well, you know, I like power and acceleration. Sure, it could have a little bit more power. What vehicle couldn't? But it's perfectly adequate. I think that when you're getting on and off the freeways, which again, I just did recently, trying to accelerate on that entrance ramp, it handles it easily. No problems passing people and stuff like that. Of course, if you put yourself in a position where you really got to nail it to the floor, just be prepared. You're going to have to, I guess, suffer the dual lag that it has. But you're going to get there eventually. Anyway, leave a comment. Let me know. If you own a RAV4, do you find that the power that it has is good enough that you're not wanting for more when you're driving around, or does it really need an extra shot? I'd just be curious to know. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.